Good morning and welcome. It is Wednesday the 13th of November, excuse me, 2024. My name's Jenny McCormac. I am an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator and I'm based in the market town of Brackley, which is in Northamptonshire, and that is here in the UK. Thank you for joining me today. You may be joining us live, in which case we're just after 10 o'clock on Wednesday the 13th, or you might be watching us on replay or catch up either on Facebook or on YouTube. Each week I've been featuring a different kit. I got rather behind showing you the various kits that we have, and Stampin' Up release 2 new kits each month right the way through the year. Next year I think we'll see a few months where there are 3 kits, so I'll keep you informed of those. And kits are a perfect way to either start crafting. You could gift the kit to somebody either in its raw form for them to create, or you could create the cards if it was a card making kit, and then gift them as a finished product. As well as card making kits, we do have home decor, so frames and things like that. We have some wreaths, so have a good look at the website to see what is currently in stock at any given time. If the kit says it's currently unavailable, that means it is due back in stock. If you're looking for a kit that I've covered previously and you can't find it anywhere on the website, there is a chance that that has now sold out. I do keep a stock of kits here, so by all means, if you're here in the UK and you're looking for a particular kit, do reach out to me and I can let you know if I have that particular kit in stock. So this kit is called Nature's Paintings, and this is a fabulous watercolour kit, and it makes 24 pieces of artwork, I'm going to call it, because it doesn't include cards, but you can easily make these into cards. So the kit consists of this lovely pad of pre-printed designs. There are 12 different designs and you'll get 2 of each of those designs. Just trying to keep it out of the reflection of the lights. It's a bit of a dull morning this morning. So we have 2 of these here, these lovely peonies, and that's what's printed on the front as well. And it's sort of seasonal, so these are magnolias. I'm not going to be able to identify all of these, I have to say. So those are magnolias, and then we have these lovely little berries, and they're almost like bluebells, but I can't think of the name. It'll come to me later. So that would be perfect with a sentiment stamped in the centre if you wanted to. And then we have the lovely poppies. And then we have a frame with ferns, and there might be alliums, but I'm not sure. And then we have some sort of tropical palms. Hopefully you can see those okay. So these are printed, and they're printed, some of them printed right to the edge. We have this one here. 2 of those. And then another little border. These are like nasturtiums. 2 of those. Of course, we have to have sunflowers. I know a lot of people love sunflowers. And then we have acorns and oak leaves. I want to say these are like little sycamore seeds. And then we have poinsettias, perfect for Christmas. So you get 2 of each of those designs. And then you also get some blank pieces at the end. So this is like a thick watercolour card. So you can use water on it. You can use blends pens, so lots of different colouring mediums. So let's just pick the first one. This is the one that we're going to do. So it's a thick card. You could make them as postcards as well, unless you were using blends pens. Just use the colour on the front and then write your message on the back. You could either pop it in an envelope or send it as is, whichever you prefer. In addition to the cards, we have some instructions here that give you some ideas and tips on which colours they've used here and also how to colour. And they've got 1, 2, 3 different examples, and they show you, for example, on the poinsettias, which ones to use. Just go over lightly, then go over with the darker colours, and then add in more detail, and then use the water brush, which I'm going to show you, to move those colours around and blend those in. So there's some instructions on there. It shows you all of the designs on the back. So in addition to that, you get 8 watercolour pencils. Oh, hi Vivian. Hi Catherine. Hi Caroline. And good morning to you, Nicole. So in addition to that, you get 8 watercolour pencils, and these are Stampin Up colours. And we do sell watercolour pencils from the annual catalogue as well, and they are all numbered. So these are obviously a subset of those, but if you have any existing watercolour pencils, either Stampin Up colours or not, you could obviously use those. So it tells you what the colours are. So we've got Daffodil Delight, Flirty Flamingo, Pumpkin Pie, a red, doesn't specify whether it's Poppy Parade or Real Red. I suspect it's between the two. Early Espresso, Garden Green, Berry Burst and Coastal Cabana. So you can combine these obviously with any additional watercolour pencils you have. And then it also includes a water painter. So you can place water in the barrel, just unscrew the barrel and fill it up with some water. I do recommend when you finish with it that you empty it out if you've got a hard water area. You don't want it to clog up the top here. And this has got a sort of medium to fine end, which is perfect for the sizes of the designs. If you've got your own paintbrushes or other water painters, you can of course use those, and you can of course use more of the pencils. Now you could use any of, oh sorry, that's right in that light, isn't it? Let me just, I moved it yesterday for some photographs. Let's move that away a little bit, that's better. You can use any mediums with this, so if you prefer to colour with blends pens, you can of course do that. So let's get cracking. Now there are a couple of plain sheets at the back that you can use for your own designs. You can also use it for laying down the colour and having a look, and you can even pick the colour up from there. And you can put colour from the watercolour pencils onto a block. There are so many different techniques with watercolour pencils. So I do hope you'll check some of those out. So let's see. I don't know what colour they've used here. It's probably, it will tell me, Flirty Flamingo. And the secret with watercolouring, if you've tried it before and not been particularly successful, is to build it up in layers. Don't just do one layer and be done with it, because if you keep adding water you'll just dilute it and make it lighter and lighter and lighter. So the secret really is to build it up in layers. There's a perfect example here of where you've got the depth in the middle and getting lighter towards the edges. So there's, as I say, lots of different methods. So one thing you can do is just use the pencils and no water at all. So you can, what you want to do is definitely have a pencil sharpener to hand, because depending on how fine the area is, you might want a nice sharp end, or you might want a softer, more blunt end. So for this leaf, petal rather, you can start with your watercolouring, and I'll lift it up to the camera in a second. So you can literally just use the pencil on its own and not introduce any water at all. So just use a lighter touch towards the edges, like so. And it's very good for mindfulness. If you love colouring, or you know somebody who loves colouring, this would be a fantastic gift for Christmas. The whole kit is £24, and there are 24 of these cards, 12 designs, plus you have the watercolour pencils and the water painter. So even when you'd finish all of those, you still have these that you could carry on with other designs. You could obviously then stamp some more images and colour those in. So Catherine says she's not successful with watercolouring. All I would say, like anything, like colouring with blends pens, is it's just practice. Follow a few people on YouTube. Google watercolour techniques with watercolour pencils, for example. So what is, you can just literally build up your colour just using the pencil on its own. The other thing you can do is take the colour from here directly onto your water brush. So I can pick the colour up, and you're picking up basically the pigment from the centre of that pencil. So if I just scribble this next to it, so you can pick the colour up like that and paint with it. You can also then pick up the colour from a piece of paper and paint with it. There's lots of different options. Let's do a different leaf here. Let's do this one maybe, and I'm going to pick the colour up from the pen. And really just do whichever method you find easiest to start with, and then just experiment a little. So let me just lift this up so you can see this a little bit better. So, oh well, it's not going to focus on that, is it? So this one here is just watercolour pencils. This one I'm going to take the colour from the pencil, and then on another one I will do the pencil and then add the water to it. If you have time, it's always best, and especially if you're using water, to let that dry. So what you can do is do an element, do a different element, and then come back and add more colour. Often I find when I first started using water, it all looked the same, and that's because I wasn't leaving it time to dry and then going back. And of course, the more water you add, the more dilute it gets, and it just sort of washes out. Watercolour doesn't have to be light and washed out. You can have really vibrant colours. Okay, so this one, just watercolour pencil. This one is watercolour taking the pigment onto your brush, like so. That one there. Let's do this one here, and for this one what I'm going to do is lay down the colour and then add the water. So this is just using a single colour. I'm going to introduce another colour to get some blending in. I'm certainly no expert on watercolouring, by the way. I can assure you. But colouring with pencils when you're on the go is, you know, is great if you're on a, well, maybe not a bus journey. If you're on a good train journey, you could use those. And you don't need any, you know, don't need to carry loads of things, loads of ink pads or anything. Okay, so I've applied the colour there. Just loosening a bit of that water onto the nib. And then add the water. And again, what I would do is leave that to dry and then go back and add. Hi Kerry, you made it. Great to see you. So Catherine says she's had 15 years colouring with alcohol markers. Not improved much either. Hi Sam. It is just practice. Maybe finding a few people that are really good at colouring and following some of their techniques. This is going to fill that little bit in there. So what I would need to do now is allow that to dry, go back and add more colour. So what I can do is I've got Berry Burst, a deeper colour here, and I can add that. So this is the one that I used, which was just coloured with pencils, no water or anything else like that. So now if I go back in, what I need to do is do a bit and photograph it, isn't it? And then you can see the progress and the difference. I don't know how much that is, how sharp that is. To me it looks really blurred, but it might be because I'm looking across the screen at it. Okay, so this is Berry Burst on there. Let's do the same thing. If you're going darker, you don't need to clean the brush off, but if you're going lighter, then just take the detail off. Okay, so you can see that difference in colour. So I'm just going to use that to apply in the middle. So this is the one, just pencils, no water. This is watercolour pencils, taking the colour off and painting directly. It's that one there. And then this one, I need to wait for that to dry just a little bit more. We'll be applying the pencil and then taking the water out. Let's do one or two here. Now they've got this is sort of green onto colour, so let's just do a little bit of Flirty Flamingo. And you could just have a piece of kitchen towel if you didn't want to use that spare paper. I just want to take some more of that brighter colour out. It's amazing how long it lasts. So just blending that down, and then they've added some green. So we've got garden green here, and I've got some green coming up from the bottom. Now if the green is too green and you want it slightly yellower, you could add in a little bit of Daffodil Delight in the middle. Okay, let's apply a little bit of water. Oh yes, Kerry, I will show you again, don't worry, what's in the kit. So just blending those together a little bit, like so. So in the kit, Kerry, you get 8 watercolour pencils in assorted colours, so I'll talk through those. And you get this lovely block of 24 images. There's 12 different images and there's 2 of each on this lovely thick card. So I would suggest take one out and work on it. And they're quite seasonal, so we have poppies, we have sycamore, we've got nasturtiums, and then right the way through to Christmas design with poinsettias and holly. So you get 24 sheets, and you get the instructions here. They don't show every single one coloured in. They show all the different panels that you get and suggested colours that they've used for a few of those, and how to blend those together and build up the layers. And here in the UK, that's 24 sheets and it's £24. Right, let's do a couple more around here. So different techniques for colouring. Either just use the pencil completely on its own with no water, which is this one here. This one is applying water onto the pencil, and the third one that I've got here, which I was just waiting for it to dry, is applying pencil and then water onto the top. So let's just do a little bit there, and then blend that out. And the secret is definitely to build it up in layers. Don't just do one layer, one colour. I did that little bit of yellow in there because I wanted the leaf a little bit lighter. So this is the garden green. And obviously you can mix this, and you can of course just use blends pens if you prefer. You don't have to use the watercolour pencils. But as it's a watercolour kit, it sort of makes sense. So you could make all of these and then send those, make them into cards and send those. You could frame individual panels. That's my pleasure, Kerry. Really up to you. I'm going to add a little bit more green onto here. Now if you're colouring where you've got multiple colours, what you want to do is just do 1 or 2 blended colours at a time. Otherwise you can end up with it just looking muddy if you're not careful. I just want this to blend in a little bit more. Okay, like so. So I've got my outside of the bud going on there, and let's just do a couple more. So this is Flirty Flamingo, so I'm laying that colour down first. Just a little bit lighter on the outside there. That's a bit of the petal. And there it is, a little bit of berry burst on those edges. Like so. And then if you want to add more depth of colour directly to one place, you can use the darker colour on the pen. Like so. So I wonder which you like the best, whether you like just the plain pencils, which is what I've got here, or whether you like the watercolour effect. I think it does depend also on the image that you're colouring. Sometimes if it's really fine, then you're definitely better off just using the pencil, although the brush does have a nice fine tip, to be fair. So just a little bit lighter there, so I've got some shading on it, and then you can go back in and add more shadow. Let's add a little bit of that berry burst again. So I won't sit and finish this whole thing off, because I know you've got better things to do. Well, not live anyway, but I will sit and finish the whole thing and pop it on the Facebook page. And I'll also pop it on the YouTube video so you can see it. That's okay, Catherine, don't worry. I know that you fit me in amongst your work. So they've got some sort of yellow in the centre here. So this is Daffodil Delight, a nice bright yellow. And again, choose the method that you like, either just straight onto there, pick up, make sure this is clean if you're going from pink to yellow. If you've got a little pot of water, you could use that to help dilute that quicker. And then pick up the colour. You can have a little practice on your paper here. So if you're doing it this way, you will need to sharpen your pencil fairly frequently. I think that's all there is of the yellow, isn't there? Like so. There we go. So it's getting there. I'm going to work on this. Basically colour the rest of that in, including all of the leaves. And again, you can just use the pressure of your hand to make it darker and lighter. So there's the dark element, and then I've just got a light piece coming down here. And then when this is finished, I can use that whole thing as a card. I could cut around and fussy cut around there, which I might do. I think that would look really nice, and mount that onto another colour card. So lots of options. Or you could frame it if you've got I think this is 6x4, give or take. I'll measure it. She says 6x4. I've only got centimetres here at the minute. Yeah, 15 by just 11.5. Yeah. So it's slightly bigger than a UK size standard card. So what you would need to do is just trim this down slightly from the width. Oops, I've got an avalanche of ink pads. Trim it down slightly. The height is probably okay, but you might want to take it down a little bit so it's in proportion. Or I think what I might do is cut round it. There are some other ones that are, there's an all over design. There's that one there. So you could just trim that down. So that's because this is used for American size cards. Obviously the biggest market for Stampin' Up is America, but you could just trim this edge off. Let's find another one. So the full-on one works. That sunflower one, which is probably might be my favourite, I don't know. You could again just cut that down or cut around the edges. Bear in mind it is quite thick card, so just be careful when you're cutting. One thing I did want to show you is, let me just grab the other one of these, and just see if I've got the same blends pens. I got, what did I use? Floaty Flamingo. Of course it won't be just a hand, but, oh, I've got a Floaty Flamingo there. It's the dark. So I'm looking for, it's because some of my pens are out, which is not very helpful. Right, I've got Berry Burst Light and Dark. So what you can do, if you've done one of the watercolour ones, is you like alcohol markers, is you could use alcohol markers. You could also use a combination. So you could use some watercolour, some alcohol markers. Bear in mind, if you use alcohol markers, this is going to sink through to the back of the panel. So that's a dark Berry Burst, for example. This is light. And then this is Flirty Flamingo. Just going to do it on this one here. Like so. Just going to blend those in a little bit. I'll just do this really quickly, but just to show you, if you prefer alcohol markers, you could use those either as well as or instead of. So see the difference. So this will come through onto the back. The watercolour pencils don't come through. So if you wanted to send it as a postcard, you can use them as just pencil, not watercolour. Oh yes, over the top. Of course you can. Let's try, let's do it on here. If I do, that one, and then this is Flirty Flamingo pencil. So you could definitely combine the two. And if you didn't have a watercolour pencil of the colour that you wanted, of course you could use your inks as well. Just dip your water painter into your ink of choice. So it comes with 8 good all-round colours. So that is blends pen and watercolour pencil. And oh, it's got green on, yes, not use that, Jenny. And you could still do a little bit of blending with that if you wanted to. Obviously it's not going to blend into the blends pen, but it will blend into the paper. So lots of options. I think it's a fabulous kit, I really do. I will finish this one off properly, but 24 sheets of these lovely designs. Even if you just coloured them, and you could put them on a card, as I say, you could do them as, that would make a great Christmas card, you could do them as little thank you notes, you could do them as postcards. Great little kit. So here in the UK it's £24, and that is 24 sheets. You get 2 spare sheets that you can use either if you want to draw and colour in. And you could just use lots of different techniques. You could use a spotlight technique and just colour in a part of that and leave the rest of it. Oh, wink of Stella as well. Yes, that's a good idea, Catherine. So you could use a wink of Stella pen with watercolour and spread it with glitter. I haven't got mine just to hand, it's in the hall, but that's a great idea. Really like that. So that's using the blends and the watercolour pencils. And this one I will finish off with the colouring and post it as finished. Some of them you could stamp a sentiment, especially for example any of the border ones here. You could colour all of that in and then stamp a nice bold sentiment in the middle. Let me turn that light up a little bit now. Or you could just do an all over pattern and add a sentiment on a strip or a circle. So there we go. So thank you so much for joining me for our kit catch up. So this is one of the 2 kits released in November. The other one is a home decor kit which has 4 frames and 4 layered scenes that you can use. The best thing to do is check our kits at any one time. Just go to my online shop. You can find that at jeminicrafts.co.uk. And then go to the shop, and on the left hand side one of the options is the kits, and that will show you all of the current kits. Some of the kits are available in different languages as well, if they've got stamps for example with sentiments, so do watch out for those. And I hope you have a little bit of fun, a little bit of mindful colouring. So thank you for joining me. Do take care. I will finish this off. I might have to do it just now before I do anything else. And I'll post a photograph of the finished work. Thank you so much everyone. Do take care. Have fun and keep crafting. Bye for now.